Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Let us bow our heads in prayer, please. Most holy, eternal God, our Father, we thank you for your many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We thank you for life, health, and strength. And we ask you to continue to bless our city and bless all our citizens and continue to help this council as we try to transact city's business and lead and guide us and give us the right direction that we may move our city forward. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here. We certainly appreciate you being here on tonight. And we want to thank all those that's joining us virtually. We appreciate you for joining us. Our first order of business, we have consideration of June 18th, 2024 City Council minutes.
Move approval.
Second.
And then motion been made by Councilman Stroman, second by Councilman Kalu. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The motion is carried. Item number 2, consideration of July 2024 City Council Budget Workshop minutes.
Move for passage.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilman Stroman, second by Councilman Kidd. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The motion is carried. Our third item is consideration of July 26, 2024 City Council Special Meeting and Budget Workshop minutes.
Move for passage.
Second.
Motion been made by Dr. Kalu, second by Councilman Stroman. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have, the motion is carried. On this item, recognition of August Community of Character trait, and that trait is hopeful. Hopeful is a feeling or inspiring optimism about a future event. And we're going to ask all our citizens to please join us and help us celebrate the community character of being hopeful. At this time, we have an appearance by Lamika, is that right? Lamika Samuel, Family Solution Infant Mortality, her staff. And we're going to ask them to come forward this time.
Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you for having us. I bring our apologies from our director, which is Lamikia Samuel. Her daughter had open house today, so she wasn't able to come with us. But I'm Tracy Golden. I'm the program manager for Family Solutions, which is a community program under the South Carolina Office of Rural Health with a maternal child health focus. We host a program of a Healthy Start, a nurse-family partnership, and our newest is a family resource center here located at 1031 Milton Street. We also support the Healthy Start work that's being done in Orangeburg County. Our focus is to reduce the infant mortality rates in the 5 counties we serve, Orangeburg being one, which we have been here for 27 years, celebrating the birth of our babies. So we wanted you to know we also serve Allendale, Bamberg, Hampton County, and Barnwell counties as well. So we do a major focus on maternal and infant mortality, which is infant mortality is when a baby dies before their first birthday, and maternal mortality when a woman dies from related medical conditions that may be worsened during her pregnancy. And here in our state, we are doing bad. We have an F on our report card around infant maternal and maternal mortalities. So with maternal mortalities, 80% of those deaths are preventable. So we're doing the work in our community here in Orangeburg to actually reduce that rate, and we're asking for your help. We're asking that you let people know we are actually here. Our services are free. We have certified community health workers, nurses, lactation consultants, doulas, certified community health workers, as well as a male coordinator. So we're working with the entire family to make sure they're whole. Our Family Resource Center is a one-stop shop. It has Hope Health, DSS, mental health, as well as DHEC WIC services. And we offer some free classes to the community around financial literacy, budgeting, knowing how your taxes work, around information around health, knowing the difference between the life insurance policies that you should carry for you and your family. So we are doing a great work 3 doors down at the Resource Center. So please share the word. We're here to offer these free resources to our community. We have added a pantry where families in the community, if they run short of diapers, wipes, formula, as well as some other household items, they can visit our Resource Center for 3 times out of the year to supply these resources to them. So we want to make sure we're empowering our families and we're helping them reach their goals. So we are Family Solutions, celebrating our 17th annual Infant Mortality Awareness Luncheon, which you have an invitation for on September the 13th. At 12 o'clock at the Orangeburg County Conference Center, and we're asking you for your support. Come out. We have a dynamic speaker who's talking around maternal and infant mortality. So again, we thank you for allowing us to come share our services with you today.
Okay, thank you. I have questions for you, because this is kind of like right down my alley.
Well, we're glad to hear that.
Oh, yeah, I worked for social services, and we did, I used to do early screening for
Yes,
kids
I
that
know.
had birth defects. So, what are some of the preventable things that as we go out and talk, we can tell them, infant mortality, death is preventable?
One, it's preventable. For one thing, for women with around maternal mortality is getting into care early. In South Carolina, and our Orangeburg County, we only have 2 OB providers. So some of our women are still traveling outside of our county for services because they can't, the services here with the 2 providers are numerous, and they may not offer what women are looking for now. So getting into that prenatal care early, talking to them preconceptional planning pregnancies, but also having doctors hear them. If you haven't heard of the campaign that's going on, Hear Her, it's about women telling their horror stories about their maternal care. Listening to these women when they come in to say they're having these problems and issues, hear them. Do some further testing. Just don't say it's normal. Oh, that's a part of pregnancy. Every woman is different with every pregnancy. So those are some simple things we can do and encourage them to be a part of our program, because that South Carolina rates are bad, but guess what? Family Solutions rates are 0. When it comes to infant mortality rate in the last year, we have not lost a mom or a baby with a woman that has been a part of our program. Good. So encourage them to be a part of the program, because we offer all these free services. Everything we offer to them is free, from childbirth classes to breastfeeding. We have added support groups this year so they can have an outlet when they're going through things, to have someone to talk to help them navigate through the things that they're going through, as well as through these systems, because the systems sometimes detour them from getting the help that they need and the health care that they need, because if I call and I got to wait 2 weeks, I may not call back. So just educating them on those little simple things that they can do.
And where are you located, you said?
1031 Middleton Street.
Yeah, I thought it was, okay.
And our resource center and our office is there. And we invite you, right, 2 doors down. Come visit us. Come take a tour of the resource center so you can see the services that we have there.
Do you have any relationship with the hospital? And
We
also
have
family?
a great relationship with the hospital. They see our faces where our doulas go support those women while they're in labor, because we have statistics have shown that women, especially African American women, do better when they have doulas. So we have a great relationship with them. They actually sit on our provider network, our Provider Action Network, and which is a provider from all 5 counties that we serve, where we meet quarterly and we come around the table and talk about the issues we're seeing and what can be done about them and what action plans are we going to put in place for improvement and changes to happen.
Yeah, because of the reason why I'm saying that, we have some young African American physicians that come down from Charleston. Also, there's one, I don't know if you know her name, Shaniqua Brown, Dr. Brown. She lives in Colombia, but she's a resident OBGY physician that I see her all the time, every day at the hospital. And
We're usually meeting with the hospital staff and their maternal ward, and some of the providers at MUSC. They OB providers are part of our team, as well as the Family Health Center. Their OB providers are part of our team as well.
okay, great. We look forward to that.
Thank you for the work that you're doing in the community. And I wanted to find out if your services are just geared towards mom and baby. If there's an individual that needed help that may not be pregnant, do you offer
Our
any
Family
services?
Resource Center is what they need. Through our Family Resource Center, is to anybody in the community. Our Healthy Start and Nurse Family Partnership Program is targeting pregnant women and men and infants, because not only we work with mom, we have a awesome male coordinator that works with those dads who are connecting them to jobs, connecting them with the court systems, walking them through how to get their parental rights, how to get their, if they have records and want to work, how to get those expunged. So our family resource actually meets anybody in the community needs. They can come to us. If we don't have it, we have connections and resources that we can direct them in the right place if it's not hosted in our resource center. So anybody, pregnant, non-pregnant, young, old, children, we have the South Carolina Infant Mental Health that has hired a full-time person to be in our resource center because of the need that Orangeburg was having. Her 1 day a week was not enough for her to meet the needs of our community. So now they're there for 3 days.
Thank you.
Any more questions, council? Thank you so much for
Thank
the
you.
work that you all do. We just want to give y'all a hand clap. Ms. Everett, item number 5.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Yes. Mayor and Council, we've had a number of incidents recently that I just wanted to bring your attention to let you and the public know how extremely proud I am of our city employees and the work that they have done on behalf of the citizens of Orangeburg. As you know, we had the storm, tropical storm Debbie, Hurricane Debbie. I will tell you that our employees, along with employees from DPU, the county, the school districts, and the colleges and universities all came together to make sure our citizens got through that storm as best they could. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the work and the dedication of our employees, our Public Works Division, our Service Division, in fact, all of our employees. And I just wanted to take the time to publicly acknowledge and thank them for their work and dedication to our citizens. So if you would just please join me in thanking them. Also, we had that microburst incident, if you all recall, where a part of the building on Broughton Street was knocked down. We had John Singh, the Public Works folks, and Mr. Roger Brand, and DPU as well, and just DPS, and everybody came together to get that area cleaned up, really in no time at all. It was like a day, I believe, and it was expected to be through the weekend in 3 or 4 days at the very minimum, but they got that cleaned up, got the buildings assessed to make sure it was safe for the public to pass. And so again, just the level of excellence in the service that they provided, I just want to, again, just publicly acknowledge and thank them for all they do. So just the other thing that I'm supposed to be up here to talk about is DYB. I am so proud of not just our employees, but the entire Orangeburg community for putting on a second-to-none excellent World Series. I have not heard anything but great comments from our visitors who were just extremely impressed by not only just our facilities, but the hospitality that they received from people in our community, from the hotels. Just everyone came together in a very special way to put this event on. It was a all hands on deck, team-led effort to do this. I need to really point out Mr. Sean Taylor, our Parks and Rec Director. He and Marty Connor and those folks really led the effort. And it's just remarkable at what they were able to do. I will tell you, folks were working as hard as I've ever seen them work. I remember going out to the facility at 9:30 one night, and we still had employees out there as they were getting prepared for that World Series. That, again, just speaks to the dedication of our employees. Also, the sponsors and volunteers and everyone from the community that came together to make this event happen. To me, this is a testament of what Orangeburg can do when we come together on one accord and as one team. I don't think that we could have done a better job, honestly. And so before you, there's a resolution that I would ask that you all would consider passing to really acknowledge and appreciate all those folks who were a part of providing this DYB World Series experience for those players and their families. And what we want to do is, if you all pass this resolution, we want to make sure we get a copy out to all of our sponsors and volunteers as a small token of our appreciation. And then from an internal standpoint, with all our city employees who work hard and diligently, we want to do something special for them as well, that we're be planning to do like a luncheon that we would ask that y'all participate if your schedules permit. So with that, Mayor, if you...
We want to read this resolution. It says, whereas the city of Orangeburg hosted the Diamond Youth Baseball World Series July 25th through the 30th, 2024. Players, coaches, family members, and fans traveled to Orangeburg from 11 southeastern states and participated in the games and activities, and whereas many hours of planning, preparation, and work by the city employees, sponsors, and volunteers were attributed through long and faithful service, which contributed greatly to the successful event. And whereas the city council, in recognition of fine contributions rendered to the city of Orangeburg, want to inscribe on record its appreciation. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and members of council in a council assembled do officially recognize the faithful service rendered to the city of Orangeburg in the capacity in which we serve the city. We take pride in commending a job well done. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution is in appreciation of, for the devotion of the duties of the city of Orangeburg, be placed in the minute book of the city, and a copy furnished in recognition of service passed by City Council of the City of Orangeburg, State of South Carolina, on the 13th day of August, 2024. We would like to entertain a motion.
I move the adoption of the resolution with great respect to what happened.
Yeah, motion been made by Councilman Kitt, second by Councilman Stroman. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have the motion, is carried.
Thank you so
Okay,
much,
and
Mayor,
just before we
Council.
move on, I think you want to say.
Before we move on, I would not let this opportunity pass me by. Let us stand and give the great recognition to all persons that have worked and supported the DYB. Let me tell you, Dr. Sean, you all did an extraordinary job. My family was out there almost every day. They said they have never seen action like it was here in Orangeburg, South Carolina,
Yes.
on the 25th through the 30th. So let's give us a standing ovation for this. It was awesome. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kidd. She sealed the deal.
Yes, she did. Just really echo what she said, Mayor and Council. I mean, so many folks came together, folks that, our employees who tended to the grounds, who kept the restrooms clean, just all across the board. I cannot be more thankful, cannot be more proud of the work they did. And I will tell you, this will lead to other opportunities, undoubtedly. Folks that, came and saw our facilities and complimented us on not only our facilities, but again, our hospitality, they will want to come back. And it's all because of the work that our employees, our sponsors, our volunteers put forth. So this is hopefully just the beginning.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And thank you, City Council, for all your
Yes.
support too, because you all couldn't have done it. So we appreciate y'all. Give the City Council a hand clap. Lift them up a little bit. Okay, item number 6.
Yes, sir, Mayor and Council. Item number 6 is a resolution to amend the budget calendar. Due to the fact that we had so much going on in the last couple of weeks, we need to amend the calendar to allow for the public hearing to be held at the third reading, which is currently scheduled for September 3rd, of the third reading of the budget. Initially, we had the public hearing scheduled for the second reading, which would be next week, August 20th, but because, like I said, of everything that's going on, and then there being a 15-day notice requirement to have it published in the newspaper, in order to meet that requirement, we would need to have the public hearing on the 3rd. And so this resolution would allow us to amend the budget calendar to do that.
Okay. All right, council, we need a motion to, for number 6.
I make a motion, we adopt this calendar.
Second.
It's properly moved by Councilman Stroman, second by Councilman Grievous. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion is carried.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Item number 7, we want to, about the first reading.
Yes, sir, Council. Item number 7 is first reading of an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fire service agreement and contract to purchase real and personal property with Orangeburg County, and authorizing the termination of individual fire contracts. I want to emphasize that we are negotiating still currently with the county to come up with an agreement. We have a structure in place. It has not been finalized. So I will not ask you to give third and final reading until such time as that is finalized and y'all agree with the agreement. But in order to keep the ball moving, in case we are able to come up with an agreement that you all agree with and that the county council agrees with, we're asking that you give first reading. And basically what this agreement, as it currently stands, would allow the city to provide fire service in the fire tax district, in the donut as it is called, instead of having the individual fire contracts that can be so burdensome from an administrative standpoint. They can also be kind of confusing for our citizens, and so this would allow a millage to be placed that in many regards would be less than the fire contract that most people are paying. So again, we're continuing to work on that with the county, have not reached a final agreement as of yet, but in order to keep the ball rolling, we're asking that you give first reading to this ordinance.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
What is this about the real estate, purchase real estate that, It's on the top up here.
Well, part of the agreement would allow the county at the end of the term, whatever term is agreed upon, I think right now we're looking at the 10-year term, would allow them to purchase some of the city's equipment if that's what y'all agree to do. We don't, that, again, that's subject to negotiation, but that's what that's referring to.
I want to ask another question. Chief Whittingham is over the fire department, correct?
Yes, sir.
We have probably not next to the best, but the best fire department in the state. I'm not just saying that because the chief is sitting there. But I think he should be included on it.
Oh, absolutely,
I
absolutely,
don't
absolutely.
want to vote that he says,
Well,
he's been
again,
saying for several years.
Well, this is just to get the ball to rolling.
Okay, I
Right.
agree on that now, but I want him included in this.
absolutely, absolutely.
I'm not saying you're not doing an excellent job, but he's been working on this for 4 or 5 years.
I totally
It's a
agree.
lot of money.
Yes, yes, sir.
And
We will get his sign off along with Chief Austin's sign off. Everybody on our side, we will get their sign off
maybe on
before.
that lawyer
we
there
bring
with
it
him. Because he got some good ears. I like his way he listens.
to-
He
Undoubtedly,
listens in a good way. But
undoubtedly.
anyway, I got a lot of respect for the fire chief, and he's doing an excellent job. I went by the other day at 7:30, and they was out there washing trucks in 7:30 in the morning. I couldn't believe that.
Yes,
I
sir.
can get a fellow washing car at 11 o'clock. I mean, it's unusual. But,
Well,
I agree.
but this is just to get the ball
Okay.
rolling.
Keep the ball rolling.
but I want that, I want him included.
I agree. Yes, sir.
And I want to give all respect to Chief Austin. He has a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of training, and he has been the chief of one of the largest cities, the capital city, and I'm sure he would never leave Chief Whittingham out of the loop.
But I
Because
want him included too.
that's who Chief Austin is. He includes everybody. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna read this ordinance. An ordinance authorizing execution delivery of a fire service agreement and contract to purchase real and personal property with Orangeburg County, authorizing the termination of individual fire contracts and other matters related thereto. We want to entertain a motion.
Mayor and council, I move the adoption of the ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of fire service agreement, contract to purchase real and personal property with Orangeburg County, authorizing terminations of individual fire contracts and other matters related thereto.
Motion has been made by Councilman Kidd,
Second.
second by Councilman Stokes, Councilman Knotts. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion is carried.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item number 8 for you all's consideration is first reading of an ordinance amending the budget for the city of Orangeburg for the fiscal year October 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. This is the annual budget amendment that we do. We bring before you all every year. This year, we're asking that the budget be amended from its previous number of $24,037,012 to $29,053,962. There are a number of items that are that have contributed to that number. We had certain increases from grants funds that we were able to receive. We had a use of ARPA funds that contributed to that. There was an increase in expenditures in terms of a grant fund that we received for the Gateway project. So there are a number of items that contributed to the overall amendment number, and we're just asking for your consideration in amending the number. I will point out that there's expected to be a $2 million to $2.6 million drawdown because of we had projected or budgeted for a $2 million federal grant that has not come in yet. And so I want to be sure to point that out to you all. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Everett before we read this ordinance? Any questions? Go ahead. Any questions? Okay. An ordinance amending the budget for the city of Orangeburg, South Carolina, for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023, and ending September 30th, 2024.
Move the passage.
Motion has been made by Councilman Stroman,
Second.
second by Councilman Kidd. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion is carried.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item number 9 for your consideration is first reading of an ordinance to raise revenue and adopt a budget for the city of Orangeburg for the fiscal year October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. Number of things that I want to point out to you as it relates to the budget as was discussed in the budget workshop. So first of all, we're not suggesting or recommending that there be an increase in taxes, property taxes or millage for this fiscal year. We do want you all to be mindful that will be assessing our operations to make sure that we are providing services in the most efficient and cost-effective manner for our citizens. And so we want to make sure that we're doing all we can to be good stewards of taxpayers' dollars. I also want it to be emphasized and known, reiterated to you all and to the public that a number of the projects that we have going on are all grant funded. So with the exception of the new City Hall, all of these projects that we are currently pursuing are being paid for by grant funds. So just wanted to make sure that you and the public are aware of that. We have asked for that a $3 per month increase in cost of sanitation, residential sanitation. That was actually approved in last year's budget, but we delayed the implementation of that, so we want to go forward with that implementation. This will help offset the rising, just inflation in the rising costs of services. We have, the budget allows for an additional $400,000 a year to be used from the hospitality tax funds that we will put toward our general fund revenue. Some of the expenses that we are currently faced with are rising insurance costs, but again, we will continue to put out RFPs and assess where we can get the best return on our investment, so to speak, in terms of a use for funds. Let's see, just want to make, we've included a master fee schedule at the back of the budget for your consideration, and also just to make sure that the public is aware of what our fees are, just for transparency. And we will continue to pursue grant funds when and where possible. We have a great grants administrator, and she's doing a great job of helping us to pursue grant funds to help offset some of the costs. So we, again, ultimately, this is a lean budget, and we will continue to operate in that fashion to make sure that we're being good stewards of taxpayers' dollars. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Everett before we read the ordinance? Kalu, you had a question?
No, I don't have a question.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay. An ordinance to approve the budget for the city of Orangeburg, South Carolina for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024 and ending September 30th, 2025. We would like to entertain a motion, please. Move for approval. Motion been made by Dr. Kalu,
Second.
second by Councilman Stroman. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Everett.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matters pertaining to the Department of Public Utilities, Mr. Harley.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council.
Good evening.
I think I should have took Mr. Evering up on his deal. He's offered to let me go first, but I didn't realize he was going to be that quick. Good evening. I do want to commend the city administrator and all of council, and as Sidney mentioned on the DYB, I was able to partake in and participate a little bit, and Orangeburg showed very well. And then also want to commend our staff collectively on the storm response over the last week. We're always on edge during this time of the year, but we always manage to come together and put things in place. Mr. Mayor, members of council, you have before you first reading of an ordinance to amend the budget for the operation of the Department of Public Utilities for our current budget year, which is October 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. As always, we bring you an amended budget because over the year, our numbers change, and as that the picture clarifies for us, we want to give you the most up-to-date budget. That number can possibly change between now and third reading, so I would simply ask you to give us first reading tonight, and as the numbers, if they change, I will point it out on third reading if anything has changed. And if council is okay with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but I would simply ask you to give first reading, and if anything changes between now and then, we will update you at that point.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Harley in discussion? Might as well from anyone. If not, I want to read the ordinance. An ordinance to amend the budget for the operation of the Department of Public Utilities of the City of Orangeburg, State of South Carolina, for the fiscal year October 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024.
Move for passage.
Motion has been made by Dr. Kalu,
Second.
second by Councilman Knotts. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, the motion is carried.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. The next item 11 on your list is the request for approval of our fiscal year 2024-25 budget. But before I ask you to do that, I'd like to give you some highlights of this budget and then take any questions that you might have. The recommended budget that we have brought to you supports our strategic goals as laid out in our strategic planning document. It maintains our operational service levels, it does continue to strengthen our reliability, our safety, and our resiliency on our system on all four services. It does include a rate adjustment, a rate increase, and we'll talk about that more in just a minute. We propose a rate increase that would support and continue our capital improvement plan as we present it to you at our budget workshops over those 2 days. Some of the highlights included in this budget, we have included again, a rate option number 2. If you recall, we gave you 2 options, and we'll talk about this in a minute. We gave you 2 options, option 1 and option 2. This budget uses option 2. And I'll tell you before I go any further, I used option 2 because it included the most that we proposed. And it is simple. If council wants to back off of some of that, it's easier for us to peel off what you would want to move back on. But currently, as presented, the income is planned to increase $9.7 million or 7.9%. Operating expenses are expected to increase $3.7 million or 3.5%. Cash flow from our operations currently planned in this budget, projected budget, is $35 million. Anticipated in this budget, we're anticipating to draw down about $4 million in cash. This does not include loan proceeds. Remember, we did a borrowing, and some of that money is not included in that, but we will be pulling those down for some projects as well. Also, this budget still includes the transfer to the city's general fund of $6.1 million. That is unchanged. Currently, as projected in this budget, our year-end cash is estimated to be $43 million compared to our minimum reserve requirement of $41 million. If you recall, we always give you that breakdown on our reserves and what money is restricted based on council's every year's vote. $40 million is the minimum requirement that continues all of your restrictions. Further on the operations side, we don't expect our customer base to grow dramatically, but the budget does not include any increase in positions, so we'll maintain our current level of staffing. The budget does not include a cost of living adjustment, but we do include our performance-based merit program that we evaluate employees on every year, and if they meet the standards, there's an increase tied to that, and we do that on an annual basis. Operating income, as I mentioned, is due to increase 7.9% from $124 million this current fiscal year to $134 million, and then our operating income, and then our operating expense is budgeted to increase from $109 million to $113 million. Some of the drivers, of course, is the increase in our system repairs, increases in inflation, some of the state mandates related to our retirement, and some of the ongoing cost increase that we see across the board. We also, just to point out a little bit more specifically on our capital spending, our capital spending is projected to be about $44 million. This also includes $21.5 million debt issuance that we did in the current budget year. And so we'll continue to use that money to pay for things going into the upcoming fiscal year. Our electric division and our water division will see the lion's share of that money. Electric division at $12.4 million, and the water division on those projects that we presented to you on our budget workshops at $34.2 million. They are the largest spend in this upcoming budget year. The rate increase that we have proposed. We included, if you remember, option 1 and option 2, and then there's a third option I'll talk to you about depending on where council wants to go. Option 1 was an increase that kept the planned increase on water and wastewater alone in this upcoming budget year. If you recall, we gave you 2 years ago a plan that would slowly, incrementally increase rates based on our capital budgeting plan that we have in place. And of course, every year we bring that to you and explain to you where we are, update those numbers, and council decides whether they want to continue that plan. This year, we gave you an additional option of option 2, which would include an across-the-board increase on both water and wastewater, but also electric, and gas. And one of the reasons we presented that to you is that I know council may grow weary of the alternating back and forth on the increases. Option 2 was an effort to provide council and the city, customers of the city, a break, because if we did option 2, we wouldn't have to revisit this for another several years. We wouldn't need to bring it back up until around 2028. So that's one of the reasons we brought it to you. And if you do it up front, it's a little cheaper than spreading it out over time, as we talked with council about in our budget workshop. Understanding all of that, just to give you some breakouts on those numbers as a reminder, we talked about this in our budget workshop, but the option 1 would generate 2.9 million for water and wastewater alone. And then option 2, which would be the increase on all services, would generate 7 million across the board. And the third option I mentioned, well, let me stop right there and see if there are any questions.
My question would be, which one of these options are better for our constituents?
So as I always try to do, I'll give council a plan that works. I think there are benefits and disadvantages to either plan. So let me give you the numbers that impact the customer, because I know that's exactly what you want to hear.
Yes.
Ms. Kitt, so Councilmember Kitt and others, option 1, under option 1, the inside city residents would see an increase, overall increase on their total bill. This is the average monthly bill that we see for our customers, of 2.3% or $6.13. That's under option 1. And remember, option 1 only includes water and wastewater increase.
Okay.
All right? Option 2, which covers all services, would be a 7.1% increase, and on in-city residents, they would see on the average bill $18.46 increase. Remember, we shared this with you.
$18.40 per month, or?
Yes, ma'am, per month, on a bill, on the average bill.
Okay.
All right, everybody clear on that?
Yes.
For outside city residents, option 1 would see a $12.26 increase. And that's just on water and wastewater. No other service would be impacted. And then on option 2, the outside resident would see a $29.22 increase. It's a 9.7% increase on the average bill, just under 10%. And so that's how it shakes out for those 2 options on the inside and the outside rates. So the third option that we could present to council as well, and you tell me where you want to go. That third option is we could do a hybrid of the 2. We could do option 1 as a part on the water and wastewater side as a part of option 2. In other words, we would simply lower the wastewater and water rate increases that we have on option 2 and substitute the option 1 increase for it. And then there's always the fourth option, council could decide not to do anything. We talked about that one too.
Mr. Harlan, let me ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How does federal regulatory agency in terms of the water and the wastewater? Because you know, they always talk about clean energy, clean water, and that kind of thing. How does that factor into what it is that you're, our cost to our customers?
So anytime there's a regulation that we have to manage that costs us money, that we have no choice but to comply with, it impacts our ability to provide the service. It impacts our financial resources. That's the easiest way I can explain that, unless we are talking about a specific regulation. But generally, with every regulation that comes down, there is a cost, whether it's on the water or wastewater side, there's a corresponding cost that we have to deal with. And as those costs come, the only option we have are the rates that we charge.
Okay, so is it, that cost, is it passed on to the customer, or do you, does DPU absorb it?
So we do both. Sometimes if council gives us a rate increase, it's passed on.
Right.
If not, we absorb it. If you look at your current year budget, as I mentioned, the water and wastewater rates are not covering the costs that we see. And so that's why I would ask that if you cut anything, do not cut that. I would fall on the sword for us to please ask council to hold on to that. But at the end of the day, we are not currently covering our costs in those two services. As you recall, we did the cost of service study that helps us inform this rate increase, and we asked council to review that with us, and we pointed out where the weaknesses are in those two services that we provide. They're not currently covering the cost that we need to see to break even. We're losing money.
That's in the water and wastewater.
Yes, sir.
Well, you know,
And-
sometimes you make money in some departments, you lose in other departments. That's in a lot of businesses that are like that.
Sir,
A lot of businesses, you make money in some departments, you got half of the customer, and you don't make money, you lose money. in some
that is
departments.
true. And we've,
I just can't go along with a rate increase right now. I'm sorry, we didn't raise the taxes. People are having a hard time paying the bill now. Maybe another year, we'll look at it. As far as I'm concerned, I just can't vote for a rate increase right now. I'm sorry. You're mighty quiet.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to explain something. During the workshop, we went through the numbers, and the most viable option that we had was option number 2. We need to bear in mind that this is just the first reading that we're undertaking. What I would like Mr. Warren to do is next time to bring the numbers, to show the numbers, so that the council members may be able to see, because when you see the pictorial part of it, I think they will probably absorb that better. For us number people, I know what you're talking about here because I've already seen the numbers, and what we talked about was option number 2. Yes, we may or may not go for increase, but in rate, but we have to look at the total picture before we decide. But like I said before, this is just the first reading. We need to, go ahead and pass the first reading, and then take the time to absorb the numbers within ourselves and see clearly where we are coming from, whether we want to increase the rate or not. Because this is not a time to increase or not to increase. This is the time to analyze, what you have in front of us.
Mr. Mayor, make sure I clarify with Dr. Kalu. So you want the breakdown on the impact of each option
Yes, those are options.
for
Yes.
the customer?
Yes.
All right, make sure I can get you that. I can get you
And
that.
that's kind of like my feelings too. So, because we do have to, we just can't hear something say rate increase and just shut it down. We do need to analyze to see what exactly, what does the numbers really look like? You know, because you talking about, and we also have to look out for the fact that, you know, I don't like to hear increase either, you know, but we have to look at the fact that, you know, we are custodians over DPU and the progress of DPU.
Yes, sir.
And we have to look at the fact that you all have to move that company. And if you're losing, we have to see where you're losing at. You know, it's a twofold thing. This is just not a one-fold, it's a twofold thing. When we look at budget, we look at budget for the citizens, and we look at budget for the company in which we are the board of directors for. And that's what I want to open y'all minds up to make sure that we're looking at the both sides of it so that we can come up with the best solution. Mhm. Go ahead.
Mr. Harley, in the workshop, we went through 3, and they said it's a 4th one. And that's not, just don't do nothing.
Right.
And are we here because we've gone through the 4th one before?
Yes, one of the, thank you, Mr. Hannah, that's a good question. One of the reasons that we find ourselves where we are and the amount of work that we have been doing has been historic in all divisions. And that's because we have negated rate increases or we have delayed those, some of those projects because times were difficult. We've approached in the last 5 years time where we can't continue to kick the can down the road.
And I asked that question because times was hard during the Depression. Time was hard during 1863. Times will be hard in 2025 for some. But they said that can can't continue to get kicked down the road. And I see these fine gentlemen back there that you brought along with you just in case you had a little battle. But I've visited their sites. I've talked to them. And I've gone to their sites and asked them, what does it cost for this? And when they tell me, I said, Lord, that's the marketplace. When did you last upgrade that? Wasn't upgraded since I got here. Or maybe it had. But in order for this city, we can't segment the city. Let's do this one good and don't do the other one good. There's no way that we can continue to do that 4th one. That's do nothing. And next year, nothing, and then it's going to be more increase. Next year, it would be cost a little more because that's just the law of the land and things go up. I'm not saying which way is which, but in the budget meeting, we went thoroughly through those things. And it would be nice, as what Councilmember Kalu said, to just, when it's in front of you and see it in black and white, it to do something to you. But we have to be a little more aggressive and have a little more foresight looking into the future of this town because we can't continue to do number 4. But go by these gentlemen you see sitting back there and find out from them, is it something you need? Is it something you can slow down on? And I remember speaking to him. We can't get by without it.
Any more comments?
Can you speak briefly on the comparison of DPU rates to similar entities as Orangeburg and DPU?
Yes, I think I have that with us. Among some of the things that we provided for you, I know at our talk, let me, all right, the combined bill comparison, which DPU is unique in that we are one of the few communities that have the ability to do all services, and so a customer gets one bill, but they're paying for 4 different services. And so under the existing bills that we pay, our current place in that, we are, depending on how you want to look at it, we're at the lowest end. We have the lowest combined bill. And that includes Rock Hill, Greenville, Columbia, Aiken, Sumter, Lexington, Charleston, Camden, which is a community much like Orangeburg. They have a utility, water, sewer, gas, electric, no gas, but electric, but then Dorchester County. Option 1 will move us up 3 spots. Option 2 moves us up 4 spots. And that moves us in front of, those 2 move us in front of Rock Hill in our current position and behind Greenville, Columbia, Aiken, Sumter, Lexington, Charleston, Camden, and Dorchester County. So we don't move very far on either one. We're still comparatively very reasonable. The mid, we wouldn't even be at the mid-range on these bill counts. The middle of the pack, rather, on these bill counts, based on where we are.
And like Dr. Kalu suggested, are you able to bring that
Yes,
in a
we will get
visual
that out to
for
you
this
as soon as, first thing tomorrow morning. That is easy. Yeah.
Any more questions for Mr. Holly? We, if we can read this, based on, pass this based on Ms. Holly bringing the numbers back, if it can reflect that in the minutes, I would appreciate it. If we do a motion based on that fact, provisionally that he bring the numbers back, and we can approve that with those that interjected in the motion, please.
And I just want to clarify, Mr. Mayor, what I'm going to bring back to council. 1, the comparative inside and outside increased impact on customers for all of the options, right? And then also, you want a copy of the bill comparison where we fall based on those options.
Yes.
Okay, we can do that.
And so are you running water all the way to Swanson now? Did you buy that
So,
Kinley Road? Is that where the money's going?
no, sir. So, Mr. Stroman, we currently, remember, we took ownership of Bull Swamp Water.
Right.
And we have approximately a total of, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Odom, $15 million to acquire that system that came from the state. So we didn't, that's not money that we had to put into the deal. We acquired it for nothing, really, and then the state gave us $15 million to make the improvements and interconnect with that system to bring it apart, to make it a part of the DPU system. They do have the capability, now we do because we own it, to sell water to Swansea, North, and some of those further reaching areas on that corridor. But that was already something that they had the capability to do as Bull Swamp. Now, since we've acquired it, we have that ability now as well. But we did not spend any money to do that.
Well, why don't you fix and start selling water to Bamberg?
So we do have a grant, or Bamberg received a grant to have an interconnection between the city of Orangeburg's water system and the Bamberg water system. So yes, that is going to be
Well, make some money there.
we hope so.
There's several ways to find money. That's all.
So I would ask, Mr. Mayor, that you give first reading,
Yeah.
and I'll bring this back with all the information you want, and then we can start to peel back what you want on the budget going forward.
Good enough. Good enough. An ordinance to adopt a budget for the operation of Department of Public Utilities of the City of Orangeburg, State of South Carolina, for the fiscal year October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. Adopt amended electric rates effective October 1, 2023. Adopt amended natural gas rates effective October 1, 2024. Item adopt amended water rates effective October 1, 2024. And adopt wastewater rates effective October 1st, 2024. And this, Kalu, you ready? Yeah. All right.
I move for approval of the first reading of an ordinance to adopt a budget for the operation of the Department of Utilities for the city of Orangeburg, plus the needed requirements for comparative analysis of the different rates of option, and also in comparison with other cities.
Yeah. Motion's been made by Councilman Kalu,
Second.
second by Councilman Kit. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
And one abstain. Motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor, I do want to point out, like the city, because of stormless, we want to make sure that everybody's clear on the readings. We had previously scheduled our public hearing for September the 3rd. And we actually pushed our second reading back to that point.
Okay.
I would, however, propose that as we put the agenda item together next week, I'll put the budget on, and then we can answer any questions. You don't have to do a reading. You can just answer any questions that council may have from the information that I share with you for the next meeting.
Okay.
Is that amenable to council?
Sure.
All right?
That sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other business.
Yes, sir. All right, we are executive session. Item number 12, we will be discussing a negotiation incident to propose contractual arrangements, purpose of sale, purpose of property, and the receipt of legal advice for the matter covered by the attorney-client privilege code, South Carolina Code, Section 30-470A2. A, St. Matthews Road. B, annexation. C, Railroad Corner. D, Henley Street. We would like to entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion, we go into executive session.
Motion has been made by Councilman Stroman,
Second.
second by Councilman Kalu. All in favor? Ayes have it, the motion is carried, and we may be returning to open session. We're going to say good night and thank all of you and those that's listening to us. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.